Okay, so we're just going to do some editing due to very poor internet connection today with Zoom, uh, Facebook, and a combination on my computer. So I'm just going to edit in a shout out to Talking Pinoy, the famous arm swing. Okay.
Okay, we're live now on Facebook.
Okay, so again, welcome to another edition of Track Talk Tuesdays, Pinoy Athletics Track Talk Tuesdays. We do apologise as Facebook, we're encountering some rather slow issues with Facebook today, so please bear with us. Today, we're going to just briefly discuss some track roundup, and then we have a special guest who we will be announcing shortly. Sport and Philippine sport, and also in Southeast Asian athletics. So just these are some updates I've got from around Southeast Asia. So the first thing is with competitions that are coming up. So the Vietnamese are having their national championships in the marathon, and that will be held on July the 4th. So all the top marathon runners in Vietnam are having their first competition, or their first competition since COVID, for the year. So I'll keep the athletic community updated with the information that comes from that. So also with swimming, I got some updates in regards to a Filipino swimmer, Nicole Oliver, who's based in the US, who will be, according to the newspaper, targeting the Olympic standard in her event. I don't have all the details on her personal bests and which event she's targeting, but that information will be coming to me later in the week. Also, with regards to the Pinoy Athletic page, there's been a lot of interest in videos on Lydia De Vega, which we have been updating. We don't unfortunately have a copy of the 1986 Asian Games 200 meters. We've just posted the 82 and 86 Asian Games women's 100 meters, which was both won by Ms. Lydia De Vega of the Philippines. We have also on the 14th of August, we have Ernest Obiena competing in Monaco at the IAAF Diamond League in the men's pole vault. Ernest Obiena is the only athlete that has qualified for the Philippines in athletics so far for the 2021 Olympic Games. We have posted a full schedule provided to us on Pinoy Athletics of the events of the Diamond League. So the schedule has the events that are cancelled and the events that are coming up for the Diamond League. So unfortunately, due to the COVID, some events in the Diamond League have been undoubtedly cancelled, and other events will be pushing through. Okay, so our guest speaker, Mr. Ahmad Salim of Malaysia, Malaysian national coach, has now logged in. Shared some slides with regards to today's discussion. So today, Track Talk Tuesday with me as host, Enzo Williams. Just briefly regarding myself, I'm ATF statistician, level 2 athletics sprint coach, working towards level 3, co-founder and editor of Pinoy Athletics, former PSC consultant, research assistant, and former head coach of track and field at the Zamboanga Del Sol Sports Academy. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Ahmad Salim, the Malaysian national jumps coach and the record breaker maker coach. So a lot of success with Malaysian jumpers, quite a wealth of knowledge in regards to developing jumpers, even at the national and international level. So some of the athletes that Coach Salim has worked with include Hakimi Ismail, the SEA Games champion from 17 and 19 in the triple jump, and the national record holder in the triple jump. I've rushed the slide, so that should be national record holder in the triple jump. Andre Anura, the national record holder and SEA Games silver medalist in the last SEA Games in the long jump. Kathana Ramasamy, the national record holder in the women's triple jump. And Hakeem Luqman in the long jump, and also juniors Nazri Mustafa, Hanis Ishak, and Ashikin Abbas. Are there any corrections to this, Coach? I typographical error there with one of the.
So far until today, the national record for women triple jump still Amira Abbas.
Oh, okay.
Amira Abbas, 13.19.7.
Okay, so how far off the national? What is the national record in the women's triple jump? She must be relatively near it.
13.97, I think.
97.
13.97.
Oh, okay. So she's like a little.
Ketana jumping average of 13.4, 13.3, 13.3 average this last year.
What's her personal best?
Oh, Ketana.
Yeah.
Ketana 13.43. I think 13.40 plus.
Okay. So the national record in the women's triple jump is from the 70s.
From 2010. 2010.
Okay, and what is it? 13.97.
13.97.
Okay.
She also hold the long jump record with 6.29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the same
it's
percent.
correct in assuming that Anura and Hakimi Ismail are both national record holders, right?
Yeah.
So with Anura at 8.02 and Ismail at 7.7. Yeah. So okay. So we've highlighted some of the athletes that you work with. I'll just now just close this. I'll just try and close the slide now. Just bear with me for a moment because this is a bit new to me. I'm just going to. Okay, good. We will begin shortly. So, Mr. Coach Abdul Salim, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Well, welcome to Track Talk, Coach Salim, and thanks for joining us today. I just have to apologize as my computer, which had the slides and the other information, I've just had to restart, but in a couple of minutes, we should be good to go.
Yeah, sure.
How have you been?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. So, Coach, how have you been? How has training been during the COVID?
Okay, first of all, thanks for inviting me in this talk. And good afternoon, everybody. Okay, since this this year's COVID-19, our plan in training will be different. I choose in my general training now. The difference is I'm choosing to improve each athlete weakness before attempting any competition, and the program will be non-performance training based lah. That's mean any training we plan to, this few months in already 100 days not related to high performance.
Yep. So have you been able to train with your athletes, or have you been coaching them by like through means like this, such as video, or have you been able to directly coach? Or
okay, we have daily basis video recording. Internet. Okay. I give a weekly plan, and every day my athletes will record, and by night time I will review the video and then get back to them to fix the next day. The program in this movement control now are like very easy workout. Just planning to fix some small problem that needs longer time, longer period to fix. Not but if we try to fix this problem during our competition phase later, be too late for me, I think.
okay, I'll just briefly just run through some slides, because I was supposed to do that, but you know, the computer sort of gave way. I'll just briefly, okay, just closed off the slides now. So yeah, so now that I've given a brief introduction of the speaker, we're really mainly just going to talk jumps today. In regards to jumps training, and regarding some athletes that the coach has worked with. So coach, you primarily coach long and triple jump. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yep. Do you coach other events, or do you work? I noticed you do work with some other sports as well from time to time.
Oh yeah. I start with my previous job. I start after leaving my graduate. I start as a personal trainer for 2 years, and then after that I went to Malaysia University rugby team for 3 years under strength and conditioning coach.
Yep.
Yeah. Then in 2015. I start coaching in long and triple jump and last year I still helping our national squad for rugby 7 preparing for SEA Games for speed work and some advice in their training. So.
Okay. Did you play rugby yourself? Because I know
me myself.
You did. So when you were an athlete,
for club.
When you were an athlete, you were doing both rugby and long jump, because I was my contacts informed me that that you used to represent the country in long jump. Was it long, or was it triple, or was it both?
I represent country for triple jump. For triple jump, long jump only state and some local competition. Because I'm not that good jumper. I only jump 737 in 736 in long jump and 1586 in triple jump. And
But you were
yeah.
You were able to go to the SEA Games.
Yeah. I went to 3 SEA Games.
Oh, okay.
2003 Vietnam, 2005 Manila, and 2007 Thailand.
Okay.
My best result 2005 fourth placing
In the triple jump.
in triple jump.
So you're a contemporary of the Filipino athletes such as Dag Mill, Jobert Delicano, and
I
Nino
jump with
Morales.
Jobert. Few competition, lot of competition. Yeah, in the
A lot of
same
competitions
season.
with Jobert.
Yeah, with Jobert.
Yep. So did you begin off as a rugby player, or did you begin off as a jumper, or were you just kind of doing both at the same time?
I start playing rugby during school time, and then I continue playing rugby once I can't make it to our national squad for triple jump anymore at 2009 SEA Games. I can't make it to the team, and then I start playing rugby again. And that
So-
time, Kimi start doing well. Maybe this time.
So did you play rugby at a national level or at a club level or did you play sevens at an international level or at a club level? Or?
I play international club level for Cobra, our Malaysian club.
Yep.
Rugby Cobra. And then for national squad, I went for test. And then, but during that time, I'm busy with my work, not able to be with the team.
So
But most of international competition, I went.
Did you start off as a strength and conditioning coach before you started coaching jumps?
Yes. I start doing strength conditioning first before I become a long jump coach. For me, in my plan, generally I focus in strength and conditioning. The technical will be later. I'm from the start beginning, or the performance base. The test I do or refer to the strength conditioning system. Even every year, in a year we done three testing in our lab. Jet Adrian assist.
Yep.
Testing a few testing that we might find the most related to the performance. From there, easy to work on.
With Jad Adrian Rashif, a friend of mine, another statistician from Malaysia and also coach. He's using those. He's using a lot of sports science behind. Like testing and developing athletes. I saw those force plates that he was using in some of his videos.
Using force plate. We are using force plate for force plate, the new thing, and then most of the time we doing testing using the force plate for testing the CMJ vertical jump issue. I think it's helpful for me to plan a periodization. With his help, much helpful. I can find all. Sorry. It suddenly disappeared. I cannot listen. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I just had to log back in there. Can you hear now? Or
Yeah. Sure. Sorry, it's
yeah, my
suddenly disappeared.
apologies. What I was saying was Zoom unfortunately cuts us off about every 40 minutes with this version of Zoom. What I was saying was you were discussing before you got cut off there. We were discussing the importance or the help of things such as force plates and sports science itself being of a great help to you as a coach. Would you mind elaborating on that a little bit further?
Okay. Okay. We've been using phosphate for testing. From the testing, we know that we find that CMJ can, what we call it, can maximize the potential of the athlete. It's like when we doing, I have a few record of the testing. From there, I can see our triple jumper who doing good in vertical jump for CMJ for drop 40 from 40 cm high, doing very good result in actual jumps. That's for sure lah. When we test, not exactly we have to improve some strength. If we can improve the strength, following by this CMJ testing for vertical jump, I think the result will much better. From our testing, Andre in our group for Lokman, Andre, and Hakimi. Andre showed the best peak power in this team lah. The relative peak power are 72.5 watt per kilogram. That means he can jump in standing about 56 centimeter height easily.
Is this the same as the amount of force that can be generated in? Is it similar to the sprints where we're talking about the amount of force that can be generated in the shortest amount of time?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, so it does cross over. Do you also use this method of force plate testing to not just evaluate your current athletes, but do you also use it to identify new talents as well when you're doing talent identification?
Yeah, I'll be joining the junior athlete together because once we're doing this, we can notice each and every athlete weakness and strength. For me, it is I'm doing this. I think easy for me to monitor, to see that either their progress or not. And then in our training program now, I'm involved the what we call the fast plyo exercise more than the slow plyo exercise, because when I'm planning Andre and this boys program, actually I came back to what I'm doing back then.
Yeah.
What I'm doing back then and now. But what I'm doing back now, what I'm doing now is I'm improving my bed, but what I'm not doing back then. Like when I'm jumping back then, I'm training with same coach with Hakimi, the Victor Sotnikov. I'm like the first of his athlete here in Malaysia. The approach is a bit different from what I'm doing. He's not. I mean, his focus is on the general strength, how far you can jump, how strong is your legs. Then when I'm finished my jumping season back then, I noticed I lack of coordination, jumping coordination, some very fast plyometric work. I'm lack of this thing because if refer to we were training together with some France athlete back then. Last time I'm comparing our strength and their strength. Actually, it's about the same. but the jumping gaps are much different. From there, I know, okay, there must be something I have to fix. If not for myself, maybe for my athlete later.
Okay, so we've discussed the importance of obviously the amount of force that an athlete can generate, and the strength elements and the technique and whatnot. How important and where does the speed element come in terms of training both long and triple jumpers? The actual element of the importance and element of the speed aspect of the training.
Okay. We are also doing testing to find out my each athlete every 10-meter speed. That means we are doing for speed work. We are doing normally we are doing 40-meter sprint for time, but now we are doing 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, like that. From that, we can find if we do it we combine. We are looking for a good run up. We can assume, okay, if this boy can do very fast 20 to 30-meter sprint, then why we go for longer run up? Yeah, I try to maximize it because most of my athlete not very fast sprinter. Like Andre, he only run 100 meter 11:0.
Yeah.
11:0 for 8 meter is impossible. And then from then I just have to fix the right. That means you have to in 40 meter the right what we call it, the right area you should take off. Like if like Andre, they have a good velocity speed in last 10 meter. I mean from 30 to 40 meter, he has a very good velocity. So I choose that area for him to start take off for his jump.
I see. Yeah. So like as you said, for an athlete to be able to jump over 8 meters and only running 11 flat, it's very unique, I'm guessing, because a lot of really good guys who are jumping over 8 meters are usually sub 11 type athletes. What do you think that makes Andre be able to jump, to be able to jump that far and only, having, running 11 plus for the 100 meters?
Yeah. Okay. I've been around the world for this competition. I always ask all the 8-meter jumper.
That guy from Indonesia who jumps 809 and jumped 803, Sapata Rahman, he's run like 10.5 or 10.4 for the 100 meters.
His best is about 10:49, 10:49 is best 100 meter.
About 10:44, but on average 10:5 to 10:6 consistently. And
that's
your guy is 11 flat, but your guy is almost, your guy is almost with him, almost there with him at this point, but he's almost half a second slower.
Yeah, correct.
About half a second slower, but he's able to jump 8. So the question is, how does he compensate for not having that speed through other aspects of his ability?
Okay, I've been around the world and I've been asking everyone, okay, how to jump 8 meter. I just looking at their sprint. At least to jump 8 meter, they have to run 10:5. That is the common 8 meter jumper have to run 10.5 seconds. And then okay, this is my big issue lah when we're talking about how to jump 8 meter. And then where am I improving in their jumping, overall jumping? I try to maximize what they got. I mean, if most of part I maximize in jumping is when we run through board. I mean through board during the takeoff. This the most thing I really concentrate on, not on very fast full sprint and not on very good flight, post and landing. The number one, this one. From running phase to jumping phase, this transition, I think this one is the most important part lah.
Are you talking about the penultimate jump, the penultimate step rather?
Yeah, I saw that, but I'm not doing that kind of training yet. But that's area, that's penultimate from the running to the jumping, the transition. This my focus. I'm start doing all of running drill, all the takeoff drill to maximize this part. 100 jump 8 meter, I think it's not impossible anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we think about it for speed,
even Lokman last year only ran 100 meter 11.6, and he jumped 7.87. Still good.
are they compensating for it by having strength in the gym, or is it more technique, or?
It's like for me, it's technical and more on flow the technical from the run, from the running phase. That's what we call. That's what I call in my training. Okay, do a lot of flow jump.
Are these guys that you're coaching who are jumping 780s, 8 meters, necessarily they don't have very quick 100-meter speed. We're talking 11 plus, but what are their speeds like over the shorter distances? Because if we think about it, the long jumpers, you're not running 100 meters, on that runway. You're running like a shorter distance. So are they quick over 30 to say 60 meters, for example?
I refer to Jet for their testing in 40-meter sprint. Jet Adrian told me this guy doing 40-meter are like 10.5, 10.4, 100-meter sprinter. So I mean, this means they got the 40-meter of 10.5 at least. I think is enough.
So in other words, they have enough speed for the length of that long jump runway, but obviously they can't sustain it for another, say, 50 meters, if they were to run a whole 100. So in other words, they're explosive and they're fast, but only over a very short, only over a distance which is really required for the long jump.
Yeah, that's what are we working for. To maximize their 40 meter as fast as they can. And then if they run 400 meter, for sure, after 50 meter, they're like floating, not going anywhere.
Yeah. So in other words, to sum it up, it's interesting because that's what I thought. Their training speed for the 40 meters is like, they can hold like a 10.5 type runner's speed for that 40 meters. But, obviously they're not training for the 100 meters, they're training for the jumps. So they're like able, that's good enough for them to be able to jump that far, because obviously they don't have the speed endurance to be able to hold that speed for the rest of the race. But for the long jump, it's long enough for them to be able to generate enough power off that 10.5 speed they can hold for say 30, 40 meters, and that's basically just enough with what is needed for the long jump.
Yeah, correct. I'm not saying this right or wrong, but if you're looking for other world-class athlete, they're always referring to their 100-meter sprint. Like Dwight Phillips, he say, I run 9.99, I run 10.02. Oh, okay. So if I myself trying to compare to them, I think they're not significant info to go for. And that's why what I'm doing here, we try to do the impossible thing. I think by improving 40 meter, but most of people say like that, 40 meter is enough to improve their long jump. But what I'm seeing in the world is they jump 10 flat, 10 to run 8 more than 8 meters.
As a matter of interest, 40 meters, right? if they're like doing 40 meters, say in the long jump, how many steps would that roughly be? So how many steps would 40 meters roughly be in the long jump as an approach?
17 to 19 stride.
Okay. So your athletes usually wouldn't have a run up of more than say 40, or would it be like maybe more like a 30-meter run up?
More like to 40-meter run up, because
40-meter run up.
most of all of my athletes, I want them to run at least 15 meters, 15 stride, because
Yep.
in our running phase for run up, we are doing 3 phase in the whole long jump run up phase, because we don't have this ability to keep running faster. Just we have to break down to a few part of running run up and focus on last 7 strike very fast.
Okay.
I think that all people doing.
So, okay. Yeah, I remember you sent me those charts, and it basically they came up with a conversion from 100-meter type speed to long jump, like with comparisons, which is what I'm guessing you were talking about before when you said that the general consensus in the world is that a 8-meter jumper will be a 10.5 runner. But yeah, like in what you've said in your case is that your athletes have 10.5 speed, but just not over 100 meters, obviously, it just sounds practical to me that they are able to like do just enough to be able to jump what they do.
Yeah.
It just sounds practical because like, they have 10.5 speed, but they're obviously not over the whole 100, but they have the 10.5 speed for what's required during the long jump. And as we all know, like obviously on the long jump, it's controlled speed, right? So they're not going to be, they're probably not going to be going full speed in the long jump. It's going to be a controlled speed. So whether they're, a guy who can run 10.5 for a whole 100 and a guy who can run 10.5 for the 40 meters, they're pretty much almost going to be running the same sort of speed on that runway.
From runway, if myself as a coach, I can see the different. Okay, this athlete is a very fast runner, fast sprinter, and this athlete is maybe 40-meter runner. From the run up, we can see if the athlete you usually see all the American jumper will sprint all the way, all the South African jumper will sprint all the way from the start. This guy or the 10 flat runner. Then if the slower jumper, they will focus on the last 10 meter, the last 7 stride to maximize the velocity. That's the difference, from what I'm seeing.
Is there with long jump? Do you think that there, for example, hurdles, like 110 hurdles or like 100 hurdles, 110 hurdles for men? They're like you don't really get guys who are running under 10 seconds, in the hurdles because it's just going to be, like the speed is just too quick to be able to control. Do you think in long jump that there's a limit on, like for particular sprinters? Like for example, like Bolt or someone like that, would there be a limit to what would they have a difficult time controlling their jump? Or if there was a particularly quick sprinter who was taking up jumps, because I guess the best example would probably be the great Carl Lewis or someone like that who, ran a 986 and, jumped in what was it? It was somewhere up in the 880s, wasn't it? Or was it 890s? I can't recall off the top of my head, but do you think there's an upper? Do you think that there is, if guys are that quick, it gets more difficult to control the run up on the long jump, or is it more of an advantage?
Yes, and this is the big issue in if we try to run a very fast run up, and the problem is we are not capable to control the ability to jump very good. But what I'm doing here, we try to run fast and try to jump. Yes, it's not easy, but if we run fast enough, yes, we are capable to jump further That's why in our training, I doing this slow jump. We're trying to run fast and try to jump, try to jump, try to jump. We don't you just don't try to slow our run up just to jump. We are not going to jump only. We want to jump far. Want to jump far, we have to use our ability. This is the fastest we have and try to jump far. It's not easy. Sure, not easy.
Yeah.
Me myself, so last jump, oh, very fast. Oh, I'm sure I cannot jump. Okay, a bit slower. Okay, I can jump. But jump 6, 7, what for?
Yeah. Okay. So with also in regards to training, you said that you're using force plates. In sprints, so I realized from coaching myself that there was a correlation between how far an athlete could do in the standing long jump and how far and how quick an athlete potentially could run. My better athletes in the sprints tended to be, more superior in terms of the amount of fast twitch they could use in the standing long jump. Do you find that your jumpers have exceptional standing long jumps as well?
Andre best standing long jump only 3:15, 3:11, average 3:09.
Yep.
Not far. It's like a kid's. But his jump 8 meter, and Lokman is 3:42, 3:40
Yep.
jumper, and Hakimi 3:40 jumper for standing long jump. From this, if the related is, if we're looking for a good jumper, I think standing long jump is not, it's not really related to actual jump, to jump far, but it will be out the what we call the personal fitness, what we call standard. That means when we start doing we training for the next phase, and then we will see this component improve or not. But if related to actual jump, I think for some people not really related, because Andre very much good in vertical jump, drop jump, contact time, foot contact. But if doing standing long jump on the sand, it's not that good.
Okay. I'm just posting a link here just in case this Zoom conversation gets cut off again. This is like a link just in case, which this link will not be cut, like basically won't be cut off, but hopefully, it won't come to having to, like log in to this one. But anyway, what I'm saying is, so furthermore in discussion of the jumps, you don't think that there's any correlation really between the standing long jump and the jumps themselves, right? So I was thinking it was more, for, testing fast twitch fibers or that sort of thing. But your jumpers, you're saying that their standing long jumps aren't that great, but
some not good.
Yeah, but like I just like felt that anything over 3 meters is pretty good. Like that, from my point of view, because the athletes I work with, I don't think anybody could even get over 3 meters. I mean, the best ones were maybe around the 270, 260, 280 mark. I didn't have anyone go over 3 meters. But just as a matter of interest, how good can people get in the standing long jump? I mean, are there people jumping 4 meters in the standing long jump, or are they more on the mid-high 360, 350 range?
I'm not sure. 4 meter, but high 360 I once saw on the YouTube. 4 meter I never saw yet. But for at least for a long or triple jump, there must jump 3 meter at least. This it's not that related, but there's a standard which you should reach before you start jumping well. But most of my athletes, even the young Mahirahan, is not that fast, standing long jump not that strong, 255. Only Ketana good, Ketana 296 standing long jump.
Yeah, that's
but
pretty
not that
impressive.
fast.
That's like a female athlete, right? So that's that's a pretty impressive standing long jump. I mean,
But
none of the girls in my group jumped over. None of the girls in my group jumped over. You know, like I think 250, high 240s for sprinters, and that was an athlete that was running probably around a 12.5. So that is a that 296 is pretty impressive.
pretty impressive. But if 296, maybe she should jump 14 meter plus.
With that, she should be jumping 14 meters
Yeah.
plus, like same as the girl from Thailand.
That's the problem with Ketana and Hakimi. Their ability, what these kids have, they should jump more than 17 meter, and Ketana should jump more than 14 meter, because this kid got strength ability, power ability. Compared to Andre is like flush out all he's got. He's not very fast. He's not very strong, but not strong like Hakimi. And then some jumping testing, like standing long jump, always beaten by youngsters. Sometimes 299, 301.
Yeah, like I mean, I was impressed with the Nura in the last SEA Games, and I felt that because I was sitting there watching in the stands, and watching it on the big screen up in New Clark, and that jump that he made, that was a foul. I just thought when he jumped that, I saw all the other the other coaches from the other countries basically like almost stood up when they saw that. I mean, how far do you think that jump would have been if it wasn't a foul? Because I looked at the replay, and his toe was just over the board, but that was a big jump. I mean, that jump probably could have won it looked like it could have won the whole thing. Because
in the long jump or triple jump?
In the triple jump. When Andre had that jump and it was a foul.
Yeah.
But all the coaches from the other countries just pretty much stood up when they saw it, because they were completely shocked. But it was like a toe over the board.
So do I. I also shocked.
What do you think? What do you think? What did he actually? Did they measure that jump, or did they?
I have been discussing with Gilbert. Gilbert say, this jump is 1670 plus for sure. I saw it's that area. It's like over the record mark. There's a record mark, national SEA Games record mark, 1677. This is landing just over that mark.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the 1677 or whatever he jumped with that foul jump, did they take into account the amount of toe that went over the line as well, and then adjust it based on that? Or was that basically his measured jump, including the bit of his toe that went over the board?
We estimate from the end of the toe until it's about 16.7. I'm with Gilbert, discuss over. Firdaus, this one 16.7 for sure. Okay.
The winning jump was what, 1661 or something like.
Yeah, 1660.
61 or something to that extent. Yeah, because the way I see it, this Andre Nura kid, he's only about 21 or 22 or 21 or 22. He's in his early 20s, isn't he?
21 of it.
Yeah, and he's only 1 centimeter.
He's 21, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that one centimeter behind Indonesia.
The Indonesian in the long jump, the gold medalist at that age. I mean, in the triple jump, the guy's only 21, 22, and he's just starting out in the triple jump, right? I mean, he's been a long jumper, and now he's sort of that's the first time he's played the triple jump in the SEA Games, and he landed 4th, I believe. But that big jump on I think that
actually
big,
previously Okay. Actually, Andre, I'm planning him for triple jump since he start training with me. Actually, planning him to be a good triple jumper, but suddenly he's become a good long jumper. Then we go through the long jump because Hakimi is still here. Then we focus on the long jump, and then we'll see for next SEA Games because Hakimi will end up sooner or later. Maybe not that
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, because I mean, like Hakimi and Harry Dionez, they're about, they're in their late 20s. Obviously, like what you said, I mean, they could still carry on for a few more years, which is, because like sometimes jumpers can carry on until, the mid-30s.
Yeah, correct.
Like, they're far from done. I'm not saying, like, with all due respect to them, they're far from done. But what I'm saying is that this Andre guy you've got is a lot younger, and like perhaps a future talent on the horizon in terms of like the fact that he's already SEA Games medalist in the long jump. But do you think that he'll be focused on perhaps both those events in the years to come?
In years to come, we will focus on both events because actually he's still young to focus on one and just to both events. And COVID-19 is I think very good season because we can hold this guy to slow him down a bit to recover what not yet recover. I think for me and for Andre, this is a very good season for him because sometimes this kid, when we start pushing them, then suddenly the injury came out from nowhere, and that becomes a very serious injury. Because from his jump, he's come to me with 714 to 802 in 2 years. I think this guy is like bomb timer bomb. If we not control him, maybe explode somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. When an athlete improves from 714 to 802, that basically, within 2 years, that indicates that they're really pushing their full capacity in terms of where they're going. So it's no longer just, we're giving it, 90, 95, 100% of training. We're giving it almost 110% every time, we go to competition. And, if an athlete's operate, this is a strength and conditioning coach, that if an athlete's basically lifting maximum all the time, eventually if they're not given time to rebuild those muscles and to and time to rest and regenerate, then they're going to break at some point. So rest and recovery is very important in terms of the training and planning of year-round training program where you have an off-season. It's important, between those repetitions and training, and it's important in, in the smaller cycles. So say, for example, rest days, easy weeks, those sort of things also, interpreted into the program to allow the athlete to have enough time to rebuild and regenerate muscle and to be able to continue with those improvements, even if it means having a slight drop, because of that time off. But at least when they come back, they're going to rebuild to a better performance than what they peaked at the year before. And
Because
I mean,
I believe in this recovery because I wondered about Jonathan Edwards before he breaking the world record. He has 6 months rest. He actually rest because of his sickness. He got 6 months no training, and then he's come back a few months, and then he's breaking a world record. I think this transition of recovery are good for some athletes. I think for high performance athlete, this is a very good period to have. I think for him, I think that's why this a few months program, we are not going for any gym training, any strength training related that we're doing before. Don't have a very short sprint, fast sprint, everything. We're just doing some aerobic workout, maintaining loosen up all the muscle that's stiff before, improving on their mobility and flexibility things. That's all.
Okay. Sorry, I've got to cut you off there for a moment. But I'm just saying, if we get cut off again, I've posted a link here. This link is basically a permanent link, meaning that it won't this link doesn't expire because this is due to be cut off in a couple of minutes. But we'll probably round up soon. But it is very interesting talking to you about these aspects of training and about, you know, with your athletes, what their particular strengths and weaknesses are, and the use of technology in terms of developing, you know, better athletes. So yeah, so I was just saying, if we get cut off, I have posted a new link just in case. So okay, so with your athletes, like for example, Anura and the others, do any of your athletes have goals for any of your athletes to make it to that higher level, like so the Olympic or the world level, or, you know, even perform better at the Asian stage? Because I mean, the goal after having success at the senior stage, your athletes getting gold and silver medals must, you know, the next logical step must be to move up towards the higher level meets, like the Asian level, and, you know, even try and get some of those very difficult qualifications for the World and Olympic level meets. Obviously, it's a bit hard because of the COVID, with a lot of competitions being cancelled or put on hold. But in a sense, what I'm saying is, after having success at the SEA Games level, what's next in terms of goals, in terms of coaching and athlete goals?
It is coming in. Okay, so and yes, you can continue.
What we talking just now?
Sorry again, apologies.
Yeah.
Back online now. Okay. Yeah. So what we were talking about before was I was just asking about your athlete Salim. You know, getting golds and silvers at the SEA Games. My question was, what would be the next step for athletes?
Oh, the next target. Okay. Okay. Before when we start a season of training, the first we are doing like a small class session. We go for the planning and the target or objective for each athlete. The first question I ask them, what is the what is the big big objective or target for yourself. I mean that you should this guy should not jot down this, do not yourself. What is the biggest target of your life in sport, in jumping especially? So it's not like okay, I want to win Malaysian competition first, and then after winning Malaysia we going to SEA Games afterward, blah blah blah. That what I'm doing with them is I like them to put the highest. What is the highest you want to go? It doesn't matter you can reach or not. It doesn't matter. It's just the biggest target in your life to achieve in sport. So I think when we going to that, all the athletes we go for winning the SEA Games or Olympic qualification or final in Olympic. That's the dream that they should go for, because it's happened to me and my friend before. Our target is like, for me, when we are young athlete, we always target, I'm going to represent my country in triple jump. Then when we become a national athlete, then the passion will stop there, you know. It's not like when you're youngster, you want to become an athlete, you will do everything, anything you coach asking you, everything you will do. But when you reach your target that you've been set from the youngs when at the school, then it stopped there. It suddenly stopped there. It's not, the passion is not like before. That's why I asked them, okay, you have to, from the beginning, you have to aim higher. Then after that, we will go through step by step. But the main objective, you have to have very high target.
That's what I think all coaches aspire to in terms of their athletes, is having an athlete who basically aims for the stars, even if they get the moon, because the point is that, have an athlete that's highly ambitious and basically would like to do something that may seem impossible both for the coach and for the athlete. But, if an athlete's highly driven, to get to that really high goal, then they're probably going to go further than what they would have expected. What I always find is that for athletes, I always feel that, some athletes really love the numbers. So say, for example, the athlete will jump over 7 meters. So the next step is, okay, I want to jump over 720, then I want to jump over 740 and 760, 780 and whatnot. An example of that is like from the Philippines, Ernest Obiena. Every time he goes into a meet, he always wants to break his best, his best jump. It's not so much for him about winning the gold or winning, or qualifying or whatnot, but the way the athlete thinks is that if he, he will just aim to just do better every time and just aim every meet to improve his best. Like he wants to jump over 5 meters first, and he wants to jump over 520, 540 and so on. Eventually winning and, qualifying for bigger meets will come as a byproduct of just that mentality that you want to perform at your best every time that you go out onto the, track or in the field.
What my approach here, if we're going for best every time, is we're not looking for every time you go for a competition you have to reach a new numbers of jump. That means last competition 7 meter and then 720 and then 7 something. My approach a bit different. I want them to jump the best jump you can jump in each competition, because if you're doing a very best jump, sure the result is better than before. But because when we're looking for distance, this athlete they will forget about all those things in the jump. That means from the run up, because they aim already only on the landing very far. Because if we're looking for a good jump, okay, this athlete will focus on a good run up, a good everything, and then the result will come. This is my approach lah, because when I'm doing that kind of approach of, I want to jump very far. Okay, this competition I want to jump more far than before. It's not doing well. But when when applying this kind of approach, I think the result are much better. We're doing good, the result will come. Maybe my approach are different, but it's more based on my experience.
Your approach is more with the athletes is at the beginning of each new season, the athlete should be, beginning off with a certain performance and getting better as the season progresses towards the peak competition. And each time they jump, just learn from what they've done and what they need to do better, and then try and apply a bit more in each competition as the season goes on. Yeah, so like, for example, that's good because, for example, they're still aiming towards a peak competition in which everything should be, coming more together. Whereas at the beginning of the season, they've just come off, they've just come off their general preparation or their off season, and they're just starting to get the hang of things again, and not wanting to rush things which could lead to injury, and just just fine tuning the performance as the season progresses.
Okay. After the preparation phase, if we go into the first competition, the main target in our first competition is just to jump, because from here we can see either we still jump as good as before, or we have to fix something. Just go first competition. No need to think about the distance. You just go and jump. Foul, just go a full jump from the run out until the landing. Foul, doesn't matter. This in our first competition. Then after second and third competition, there will be different approach. I think my plan is more like a strength and conditioning plan. It's not like most of the coach doing. I'm doing like progression, like what I'm doing in strength and conditioning coaching style. We progress. I think it's helped.
Yep. So when you apply, if you apply periodization, are you applying a 1-peak or a 2-peak periodization program for a season or for a year? Or does it vary depending on?
If through year, at least we're doing 2 picking. The earlier season, that's mean more on March to April. Normally this in our local competition, April is the end of the competition, and then the second pick is the end of the year. If we have the Inotech BGSS competition, that's area and SEA game. Just 2 picking, and then other than that, we're doing a good training for 4 months, 3 months ahead. There's no competition. Some
Do you
people don't
divide
like it.
training into general, specific, and comp phase, or do you go into more detail where you also look at the different divisions of those periods by focusing particular time periods on strength, speed, and power development, for example, and other micro aspects of each training period?
My focus in this period, most what I interested in is about preparation phase, general preparation phase. We are doing this for 12 weeks. We are doing for a few years. 12-week preparation phase is about 3 months. We're doing 6 weeks, and we're doing pre-test with Jet, and then we're doing in 6 weeks. We're doing one more post-test in the middle, and then another 6 weeks. And weeks of 13 or 14, we're doing one more post-test. Then we start for pre-competition and competition.
Do your athletes do after the when a season's finished and the athletes are obviously having time off, do they do any cross training in other sports to sort of keep them fit, but to give them a break from the repetitive movements of the jumps?
We're doing cross training. If last year we're doing at last year at December. On December we're doing cross training at the hill, and we're doing. I teach them how to play some touch rugby. That's why I know.
Oh, okay. So that's good because it's not touch rugby involves side to side movements as well,
and fast and quick
coordination for both. Yeah.
And I like it. That's why because I want to play.
You wanted to play rugby, so you got the ball out and taught your athletes the rules of the game. I'm guessing.
Other than that, if we're doing cross training in the middle of if our transition is on May, we're doing different kind of cross training, but still related to our sport. It's not that different because they want to take any risk.
Any other activities like swimming? Do you incorporate any swimming aqua type workouts into your training, or is it mainly more on the track, or do you do like other surfaces? You did mention sand or beach, and also grass or like swim pool or anything like that incorporated into the workouts.
Last 12 week before last SEA game, the program is we're doing twice a week sand workout. We're doing weekend, not weekend. It's like 1 or 2 time swimming session for recovery. It's like for recovery. It's only for recovery, and then some recovery session with ice bath. But we're doing that. We're doing swimming. We're doing for recovery and sand exercise twice a week.
Because during the level 3 course here in Australia, we basically got given quite a bit of like pool. They were giving us some examples of pool workouts. I'm guessing one function of pool workouts is if an athlete has an injury and they want to still train, and not lose too much fitness and have resistance, like lifting in the gym, like resistance, but without the impact of your joints hitting the ground. So they were showing us a lot of exercises with flotation belts and that sort of thing. I mean, when I was coaching, I used these type of exercises as more as maintenance to, as well as resistance, because they're doing drills in the swimming pool. It's like they're getting, it's challenging in a sense where the water is acting as a as a weight or additional difficulty, having to do drills in the water, but at the same time it's likely to get hurt because you're not actually, your feet aren't really slamming into the ground like creating much force, but at the same time you're still getting quite a good workout from the resistance the water's providing.
Actually, we are doing a lot of swimming session drill in the water. Once I'm a strength and conditioning coach for rugby, not much in these jumps, but in rugby, this like running drill, everything in the pools. But we're doing once a week. That's for sure. But when I'm coach, when I become a jump coach, we're doing that for recovery only, not any.
Or if there's an injury or something, right? If like someone gets injured and they can't do as many, obviously if someone gets like a hamstring or like like a quad or a calf or something, then obviously they're going to have to look at alternatives in terms of programming. I'm guessing.
Fortunately, we have access to our sport medicine. That can help us through this recovery session for our athlete. Easy for me, much helpful for me. And I know because when we're doing the swimming recovery, it's very good for recovery. But so far, our jumper is Andre in these 2 years. No serious injury, only some ankle and heel a bit injury. It's going because once I start coaching in 2015, my first athlete I coach, I'm doing a lot of plyometric work, 3 to 4 session plyometric work a week, and it start feel pain on the knee and hamstring not very good. And then for the next year, I start progress my program. And then I think this 2 years program, this past 2 years, I think my program not that issue in this injury part. I think nobody have a very big injury problem. Even some a bit pull, hamstring, and recovery. That's all.
So, as a coach, how do you feel that you're able to manage or reduce the seriousness or number of injuries in your squad? Because, I mean, a lot of coaches are not quite so. They do not have quite the same luck in terms of, well, I wouldn't call it luck, but like, they have quite the same issues where they have a low number of injuries. They're usually quite high number of injuries in a lot of squads. But like in your squad, how do you feel that, that you're able to limit or minimize the number of injuries that your athletes are getting?
I think it's because of the advantage of me, myself, in love with sport science and become strength conditioning. I think this helped much because once I notice an injury, then I start to figure out, okay, what's the prevention I have to put inside in my program for the next. That's my plan every year. I notice I plan the program. Let's say going through even got some athlete injured. I don't fix the program yet until the full program finish, and then for the next program, then I start fixing and add on to fix this problem. Mostly like that. I just add on some Wilmot length, some exercise he's doing the modified for hamstring workout. I just add on to my program. It's helpful. So far, much helpful.
Okay, so another question is, with you know, like with your athletes, obviously, coach, you have another, you know, you have people who are in a sense of team effort, developing athletes. I mean, before I had a assistant coach, I had a strength coach board. You know, obviously some PTs and, you know, he got a board as well. With your athletes, do you have a dietitian board? Is there like, you know, if you employ a psychologist, or if you've got like other coaches who are helping in any way?
Grateful for us because our sport nutrition is current national record holder for long jump and triple jump. Amira Abbas is our national nutrition here. You know, sport transfer. I think much helpful. Even I know, but I let them do their work, and I try to advise if I can, because mostly last time we become a PT show. Okay, you have to eat this one, this okay, this protein this much, this morning. I think PT's experience helps a lot.
I think it does help share the workload a bit when you've got, you know, even if you know things like diet or other aspects. I mean, for myself, it did help when I was coaching, and, you know, I had another coach handling the strength and conditioning side of things, because it really depends how many athletes you have in your squad and how much time that you have in order to coach. I mean, if coaching full-time obviously gives you a lot of time that can be well managed. But I found with myself is that I liked to delegate the strength and conditioning side to somebody else, so I could like focus more on the technical aspects of training alone. But obviously your system seems to work. I mean, just imagining, you know, handling both the strength and conditioning side plus the technical aspects would be something which is you know, like would take quite a bit of time. I can imagine. But, you know, imagine having to add on the dietary aspects and other aspects. That would, you know, make it even more difficult, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Exhausting.
Because I mean,
because I have here about 20 athletes from youth until senior. Sometimes every day, afternoon I have to do 2 sessions. 1 session for school youth, and then 1 session for senior athlete.
So how would a typical day, you know, pan out for Coach Salim? Like, I mean, how, you know, what time would you get up, and what time would you, from when you get up to when you go to sleep, how does your day look in terms of coaching?
Oh yeah, we start punch in at work at 6:45 morning, and the morning session we start at 7 to 8:30 for the school kid, and then I continue with the seniors until 10. And from 8:30 until 10 we go to the gym, and then at 3:30 I start with the school kids, and at 5 I continue with the senior until 7. So it's not easy.
And also, like, you know, like being a coach, are you also a teacher as well, or you're just a full-time coach? Do you also work as a teacher as well?
I'm a full-time coach.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that, like, being a coach is like being a teacher, because the thing is that people really only see the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the tip of the iceberg is the performance of your athletes, but the tip of the iceberg is basically them seeing you coaching the athletes and training. But you take into account a teacher, like a coach, their job doesn't finish in the classroom. Because you know, you're probably having to look at videos, doing analysis, you're making training programs, and that's extra on top of the time that you're spending, you know, physically coaching your athletes. There's a lot of paperwork and evaluation and video analysis that has to go in addition to the, you know, the long hours that are spent during the day directly working with your athletes.
I have to spend about 5 more hours instead of the physical coaching to prepare everything, the daily planning, the reflection for every athlete. We have to do daily, and then sometimes when the competition season coming, that's the tiring part, because I have to review every time we're doing technical session. Oh, that's this the I don't like I don't like because it's too tiring. I like preparation phase because I plan everything they work on and I see like conditioning coach. Okay, good. But the competition phase, that's the tiring part. I have to you see I have 16 to 20 athletes. With training every jump, I have to review and again, and then after come back, go back to house and then see the video, review the video again to fix for the next session. But now I start cut off my group, become a smaller group. I hope for next year we become better.
Okay. Well, Coach Salim, thank you for your time today. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you off there because I've got a call coming in the next 5 minutes. But I do appreciate that you've spent the last hour and a half sharing with us your coaching philosophy, how you coach your athletes, your goals, and aspects of the jumps. So again, thank you, and I do apologize for all the I probably need to escalate getting a new computer really soon because Facebook and Facebook has really been stalling today. Chrome's been running really slow, and Zoom hasn't been the greatest. So despite that, thanks for your time. I have this recorded. I'll just let you know. I'll discuss that with you further after this, probably later on today before I post anything. So again, thanks very much for your time. And all the best with you and your athletes in the coming comps.
Okay, thank you for inviting me, and I hope this talk will benefit everyone who watch. If not, just asking
It's been very insightful talking with you today, and I can see why your athletes, really go and break records when with all the thought that goes into the program and the planning.
I thought so. But the record breaker, that's too high. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hello, buddy, are you there? Andrew, I think. So, she's coming in. Okay, so Andrew. Yeah, you can continue.
What I was talking just now.
Sorry again, apologies.
Yeah.
Back online now. Okay. So what we were talking about before was I was just asking about your athlete Salim, getting golds and silvers at the SEA Games. My question was, what would be the next step for athletes?
The next target. Okay. Before when we start a season of training, the first we are doing a small class session. We go for the planning and the target or objective for each athlete. The first question I ask them, what is the big big objective or target for yourself. I mean that you should this guy should not jot down this, do not yourself. What is the biggest target of your life in sport, in jumping especially? So it's not like I want to win Malaysian competition first, and then after winning Malaysia we going to SEA Games afterward, blah blah blah, like that. what I'm doing with them is I like them to put the highest, what is the highest you want to go. It doesn't matter you can reach or not. It doesn't matter. It just the biggest target in your life to achieve. So I think when we go into that, all the athletes we go for winning the SEA Games or Olympic qualification or final in Olympic. That's the dream that they should go for, because it's happened to me and my friend before. Our target is like, for me, when we are young athlete, we always target, oh, I'm going to represent my country in triple jump. Then when we become a national athlete, then the passion will stop there, you know. It's not like when you're youngster, you want to become an athlete, you will do everything, anything you coach asking you, everything you will do. But when you reach your target that you've been set from the youngs when at the school, then it stopped there. It suddenly stopped there. It's not, the passion is not like before. That's why I asked them, okay, you have to, from the beginning, you have to aim higher. Then after that, we will go through step by step. But the main objective, you have to have very high target.
That's what I think all coaches aspire to in terms of their athletes, is having an athlete who basically aims, you know, for the stars, even if they get the moon. Because the point is that, you know, have an athlete that's highly ambitious and basically would like to do something that may seem impossible both for the coach and for the athlete. But, you know, if an athlete's highly driven, you know, to get to that really high goal, then they're probably going to go further than what they would have expected. What I always find is that for athletes, I always feel that, you know, some athletes really love the numbers. So say, for example, the athlete will jump over 7 meters. So the next step is, okay, I want to jump over 720. Then I want to jump over 740 and 760, 780 and whatnot. An example of that is from the Philippines, Ernest Obiena. Every time he goes into a meet, he always wants to break his best jump. It's not so much for him about winning the gold or winning, you know, or qualifying or whatnot, but the way the athlete thinks is that if he, you know, he will just aim to just do better every time and just aim every meet to improve his best. Like he wants to jump over 5 meters first, and he wants to jump over 520, 540 and so on. Eventually winning and qualifying for bigger meets will come as a byproduct of just that mentality that you want to perform at your best every time that you go out onto the track or in the field.
What my approach here, if we're going for best every time, is we're not looking for, okay, every time you go for a competition, you have to reach a new numbers of jump. That means last competition 7 meter and then 720 and then 7 something. My approach a bit different. I want them to jump the best jump you can jump in each competition, because if you're doing a very best jump, sure the result is better than before. But because when we're looking for distance, this athlete will forget about all those things in the jump. That means from the run up, because their aim already only on the landing very far. Because if we're looking for a good jump, okay, this athlete will focus on a good run up, a good everything, and then the result will come. This is my approach lah, because when I'm doing that kind of approach of, oh, I want to jump very far. Okay, this competition I want to jump more far than before. It's not doing well. But when I'm applying this kind of approach, I think the results are much better. You're doing good, the result will come. Maybe my approach are different, but it's more based on my experience.
Your approach is more with the athletes is at the beginning of each new season, the athletes should be, beginning off with a certain performance and getting better as the season progresses towards the peak competition. And each time they jump, just learn from what they've done and what they need to do better, and then try and apply a bit more in each competition as the season goes on. Yeah, so like, for example, that's good because, for example, they're still aiming towards a peak competition in which everything should be, coming more together. Whereas at the beginning of the season, they've just come off, they've just come off their general preparation or their off season, and they're just starting to get the hang of things again, and not wanting to rush things which could lead to injury, and just just fine tuning the performance as the season progresses.
Okay. After the preparation phase, if you go into the first competition, the main target in our first competition is just to jump, because from here we can see either we still jump as good as before, or you have to fix something. Just go first competition. No need to think about the distance. You just go and jump. Foul, just go a full jump from the run out until the landing. Foul, doesn't matter. This in our first competition. Then after second and third competition, there will be different approach. I think my plan is more like a strength and conditioning plan. It's not like most of the coach doing. I'm doing like progression, like what I'm doing in strength and conditioning coaching style. We progress. I think it's helped.
Yep. So if you apply periodization, are you applying a 1-peak or a 2-peak periodization program for a season or for a year? Or does it vary depending on?
If through year, at least we're doing 2 peaking. The earlier season, that's mean more on March to April. Normally this in our local competition, April is the end of the competition, and then the second peak is the end of the year. If we have the Inotech BGSS competition, that's area and SEA game. Just 2 peaking, and then other than that, we're doing a good training for 4 months, 3 months ahead. There's no competition. Some people don't like it.
Training into general, specific, and comp phase, or do you go into more detail where you also look at the different divisions of those periods by focusing on particular time periods on strength, speed, and power development, for example, and other micro aspects of each training period?
My focus in this period, most what I interested in is about preparation phase, general preparation phase. We are doing this for 12 weeks. We are doing for a few years. 12-week preparation phase is about 3 months. We're doing 6 weeks, and we're doing pre-test with Jet, and then we're doing in 6 weeks. We're doing one more post-test in the middle, and then another 6 weeks, and weeks of 13 or 14, we're doing one more post-test. Then we start for pre-competition and competition.
Do your athletes do after the when a season's finished and the athletes are obviously having time off, do they do any cross training in other sports to sort of keep them fit, but to give them a break from the repetitive movements of the jumps?
We're doing cross training. If last year we're doing at last year at December. On December we're doing cross training at the hill, and we're doing. I teach them how to play some touch rugby. That's why I know.
Oh, okay. So that's good because it's not touch rugby involves side-to-side movements as
Yeah,
well,
yeah. And fast and
and
quick.
coordination of the ball. Yeah.
And I like it. That's why because I want to play.
You wanted to play rugby, so you got the ball out and taught your athletes the rules of the game, I'm guessing.
Other than that, if you're doing cross training in the middle of if our transition is on May, we're doing different kind of cross training, but still related to our sport. It's not that different because I didn't want to take any risk.
Any other activities like swimming? Do you incorporate, any swimming, aqua type workouts into your training, or is it mainly more on the track, or do you do like other surfaces? You did mention sand or beach, and also I don't know, grass or like swim pool or anything like that incorporated into the workouts.
Last 12 week before last SEA game, the program is we're doing twice a week sand workout. We're doing weekend, not weekend. It's like 1 or 2 time swimming session for recovery. It's like for recovery. It's only for recovery, and then some recovery session with ice bath. But we're doing that. We're doing swimming. We're doing for recovery and sand exercise twice a week.
Because during the level 3 course here in Australia, we basically got given quite a bit of like pool. They were giving us some examples of pool workouts. I'm guessing one function of pool workouts is if an athlete has an injury and they want to still train and not lose too much fitness and have resistance, like lifting in the gym, like resistance, but without the impact of your joints hitting the ground. So they were showing us a lot of exercises with flotation belts and that sort of thing. I mean, when I was coaching, I used these type of exercises as more as maintenance as well as resistance, because they're doing drills in the swimming pool. It's like they're getting it's challenging in a sense where the water is acting as a as a weight or additional difficulty having to do drills in the water, but at the same time it's likely to get hurt because you're not actually, your feet aren't really slamming into the ground like creating much force, but at the same time you're still getting quite a good workout from the resistance the water's providing.
Actually, we are doing a lot of swimming session drill in the water. Once I'm a strength and conditioning coach for rugby, not much in these jumps, but in rugby, this like running drill, everything in the pools. But we're doing once a week. That's for sure. But when I'm coach, when I become a jump coach, we're doing that for recovery only, not any.
Or if there's an injury or something, right? If like someone gets injured and they can't do as many, obviously if someone gets like a hamstring or like like a quad or a calf or something, then obviously they're going to have to look at alternatives in terms of programming. I'm guessing.
Here, unfortunately, we have access to our sport medicine. They can help us through this recovery session for our athlete. Easy for me, much helpful for me. And I know because when we're doing the swimming recovery, it's very good for recovery. But so far, our jumper, if Andre in these 2 years, no serious injury, only some ankle and heel a bit injury. It's going because once I start coaching in 2015, my first athlete I coach, I'm doing a lot of plyometric work, 3 to 4 session plyometric work a week, and it start feel pain on the knee. and hamstring not very good. And then for the next year, I start progress my program. And then I think this 2 years program, this past 2 years, I think my program not that issue in this injury part. I think nobody have a very big injury problem. Even some a
Yeah.
bit pull hamstring and recovery. That's all.
So, as a coach, how do you feel that you're able to manage or reduce the seriousness or number of injuries in your squad? Because, I mean, a lot of coaches are not quite so, do not have quite the same luck in terms of, well, I wouldn't call it luck, but like, you know, have quite the same issues where they have a low number of injuries. They're usually quite high number of injuries in a lot of squads. But like in your squad, how do you feel that, you know, that you're able to limit or minimize the number of injuries that your athletes are getting?
I think it's because of the advantage of me myself. I love this sport science and become strength conditioning guy. I think this helped much because once I notice an injury, then I start to figure out, okay, what's the prevention I have to put inside in my program for the next. That's my plan every year. I notice I plan the program. Let's say going through even got some athlete injured. I don't fix the program yet until the full program finish, and then for the next program, then I start fixing and add on to fix this problem. Mostly like that. I just add on some Wilmot Lens, some exercise he's doing the modified for hamstring workout. I just add on to my program. It's helpful so far, much helpful.
Okay, so another question is, with you know, like with your athletes, obviously, as a coach, you're on board, but I'm guessing that you have another, you know, you have other people on board as well who also assist, such as Jad. Who else? In a sense, it's a team effort. Developing athletes. I mean, before I had a assistant coach, I had a strength and conditioning coach on board. I had, you know, obviously some PTs and some, you know, a guidance counselor on board as well. With your athletes, are they also looking at nutrition? Do you have a dietitian on board? Is there like, you know, like obviously PTs and I don't know if you employ a sports psychologist or, you know, if you've got like other coaches as well who are helping in any way?
We have sport nutrition. Grateful for us because our sport nutrition is our previous, is current national record holder for long jump and triple jump. Amira Abbas is our national nutrition here. You know, sport transfer. I think much helpful. Even I know, but I let them do their work, and I try to advise if I can because mostly last time we become a PT. Sure, okay, you have to eat this one, this okay, this protein this much, this morning. I think PT's experience helps a lot.
I think it does help share the workload a bit when you've got, you know, even if you know things like diet or other aspects. I mean, for myself, it did help when I was coaching and, you know, I had another coach handling the strength and conditioning side of things because it really depends how many athletes you have in your squad and how much time that you have in order to coach. I mean, if coaching full-time obviously gives you a lot of time that can be well managed. But I found with myself is that I liked to delegate the strength and conditioning side to somebody else so I could like focus more on the technical aspects of training alone. But obviously your system seems to work. I mean, just imagining, you know, handling both the strength and conditioning side plus the technical aspects would be something that would be something which is, you know, like would take quite a bit of time. I can imagine. but imagine having to add on the dietary aspects and other aspects that would make it even more difficult, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure, exhausting. I have to,
because I mean,
because I have
so
here about 20 athletes from youth until senior. Sometimes every day, afternoon I have to do 2 sessions. 1 session for school youth, and then 1 session for senior athlete.
So how would a typical day, pan out for Coach Salim? Like, I mean, how, what time would you get up, and what time would you, from when you get up to when you go to sleep, how does your day look in terms of coaching?
Oh yeah, we start punch in at work at 6:45 morning. And the morning session we start at 7 and 7 to 8:30 for the school kid, and then I continue with the seniors until 10. And from 8:30 until 10 we go to the gyms, and then at 4 afternoon at 3:30 I start with the school kids, and at 5 I continue with the senior until 7. So it's not easy.
And also, like being a coach, are you also a teacher as well, or you're just a full-time coach? Do you also work as a teacher as well?
I'm a full-time coach.
Okay. I'm just saying that, like, being a coach is like being a teacher, because the thing is that people really only see the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the tip of the iceberg is the performance of your athletes, but the tip of the iceberg is basically them seeing you coaching the athletes and training. But you take into account a teacher, like a coach, their job doesn't finish in the classroom. Because you're probably having to look at videos, doing analysis, you're making training programs, and that's extra on top of the time that you're spending, physically coaching your athletes. There's a lot of paperwork and evaluation and video analysis has to go in addition to the long hours that are spent during the day directly working with your athletes.
I have to spend about 5 more hours instead of the physical coaching to prepare everything, the daily planning, the reflection for every athlete. We have to do daily, and then sometimes when the competition season coming out, that's the tiring part, because I have to review every time we're doing a technical session. Oh, I don't like because it's too tiring. I like preparation phase, because I plan everything they work on, and I see conditioning coach. Okay, good. But the competition phase, that's the tiring part. Have to you see I have 16 to 20 athletes with training every jump. I have to review and again, and then after go back to house, and then see the video, review the video again to fix for the next session. But now I start cut off my group, become a smaller group. I hope for next year we become better.
Okay. Well, Coach Salim, thank you for your time today. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you off there because I've got a call coming in the next 5 minutes. But I do appreciate that you've spent the last hour and a half sharing with us your coaching philosophy, how you coach your athletes, your goals, and aspects of the jumps. So again, thank you, and I do apologize for all the I probably need to escalate getting a new computer really soon, because Facebook and Facebook has really been stalling today. Chrome has been running really slow, and Zoom hasn't been the greatest. So despite that,